today over 9 and 8 other candidates. Then there's Kumah Owusu-Ediomi. He's running independent. He was or has been a 3-time MP for this constituency. Then for the CPP, there is Esther Osei. Then Beatrice Boache for the LPG. And then 2 other independent candidates, Gabriel Ajiman running independent and Atakara Joseph also running independent. But you would agree with me that of the 6 candidates, the 2 who are standing out or have stood out for political talk and analysis are the NPP candidate, Kwabena Boateng, and the independent candidate, formerly NPP Member of Parliament for this constituency, Mr. Kwabena Owusu-Ediomi. Now, talk on the ground is that he has been able to amass the NDC supporters to vote for him. In fact, we heard the Vice President speak, and some key members of the NPP say that Ediomi is a vote for the NDC, advising NPP supporters to come out in the numbers to vote for the NPP and not for Ediomi, even though they have known him as their MP, and he, in fact, did bring a lot of development to the area. What do you make of this? We're going to go straight to the ground now to talk to William Evans Inkum to find out, first of all, how things are going. And then as we go, we'll bring you some historical background to this constituency and how the various parties have performed over the years. Hello, William.
Hello, Na.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the show. William, has voting started in Ejisu?
Well, so it has started across all 204 polling stations in 28 electoral areas, and we are talking about an excess of 100,000 voters. Currently, I am here at Besiase, and this is the hometown of Kwabena Owusu-Ediomi, the 3-time Member of Parliament on a ticket of the NPP. Running as independent candidate this time around, and exactly the Sakora polling station, because this is his polling station. Okay. And I understand in a few minutes from now, we should come here and then cast his vote. If you come here, we are talking about a total of 735 voters here. Currently, 108 have voted. 40 of them are women, and 48 are women, I understand, and 60 are men. So that is the situation here. It's pretty calm. Across all polling stations that we have been monitored, or we are monitoring. Don't forget that we have, reported in all 204 polling stations and all 28 electoral areas, giving us up-to-date information as far as this particular by-election is concerned. So for now, it has been incident-free, even though we've heard allegations of vote buying, but we are unable to ascertain the veracity of these allegations. And it's very common as far as, today's election and for that matter, previous elections are concerned. So as I'm talking to you now, we cannot independently verify these allegations, even though they are rife across almost all polling stations that we have visited. But here, there's higher concentration. If I'm talking about higher concentration, then I'm talking about higher political and security concentration. And that is for a very simple reason, being that because this particular polling station is the polling station of Kwabena Owusu-Ediomi, we have higher political concentration. That is a number of deployments from the camp of the NPP. So when you come here, you have more than a dozen chairmen from various constituencies who have been stationed here to monitor proceedings here, or the electoral process, as far as this particular place is concerned. If beyond the chairman, or the constituency chairman, we are also talking about security. And there's also high concentration as far as police monitoring this particular situation is concerned. It's also been marked as one of the hotspots or the flashpoints in the Ejisu constituency. So here, we have about 10 hotspots or 10 flashpoints in the Ejisu constituency currently. So you're talking about Banku, you're talking about Besiase, you're talking about Achankro, we are talking about Ejisu Dongo, we are talking about Besiase, as I mentioned earlier. We also are talking about Onye Paso. These are all flashpoints, and we have a number of reporters who have been stationed there to also bring us up-to-date development as we unfold in this point. But so far, it has been incident-free. Voting in some polling stations have rather been slow. For instance, coming here, I went to the St. George's International School. A total number of 696 voters are expected to vote there. As at the time I was living there, only 12 people have come there to cast their vote. And with that, we're talking about 11 men and 1 woman. So here, we're still concerned about female participation as far as this particular electoral exercise is concerned. We know that by-election generally do not record high figures. But now, if you ask me, the momentum that this particular election gathered, I will be surprised if this particular election, do not cross 70%. I am saying this because the same situation that we witnessed in the Kumah by-election, it started on a very slow pace, but getting to the dying moment of the day, we saw a number of people trooping to the various polling centers to also cast their votes. You wouldn't say that they were actually, in terms of, the political watchers and what have you, they did not hit 100% or 80%, but the number of people who turn up to vote.
All right, the connection has dropped there, but we'll reconnect with William Evans Nkum to let us know more about what's happening on the ground. So ordinarily, this is a safe seat for the NPP, and you would think that the NPP will go to bed and know that it's a win for them as usual. But they're facing very stiff competition from an independent candidate who, of course, was previously MP for the area on the MPP ticket. And so you can say, at least political commentators are telling us, that he has been able to court the loyalty of some MPP voters, of some NDC voters, of some floating voters, and people who would not even disclose who they are going to vote for. And so you see that the MPP has marshaled all of its machinery to Ejisu over the last couple of days to ensure that their people continue to be their people and vote massively for them. So William Evans Nkum will bring us some more on that. But let's take a look at the history of this constituency and how the various parties have performed over the last few elections that have been held there. Let's see the slides. All right, as we pull that, you can also let us know your thoughts on how things are going so far, especially if you're in Ashanti region or in Ejisu. If you're tweeting at us with a hashtag TV3 New Day, we'll be happy to read from you. All right, let's see the slides now. Okay, so this is the Ejisu parliamentary results from 1996. The NPP won by 63.20%, and the NPP had only 18.50%. This was in 1996. And in 2000, the NPP led by 78.80%, and the NDC followed with 18.50%. So we see a growth there. All right, so let's look at 2004. The NPP again led by 78.20%, and the NDC followed with 17.20%. And then in 2008, the NPP again led some more growth, we see, by 82.34%, and the NDC followed with 15.29%. All right. Now, in 2012, the NPP led again with 80%, and then the NDC followed with 18.14%. And then in 2016, the NPP led with 83.79%, and then the NDC followed with 14.58%. And then in 2020, we saw the NPP again lead by by 82.83%, and the NDC followed by with 17.717%. This was in 2020. Now, this year, unfortunately, in March, we lost Dr. John Kumah, and he was the MP for the area. Going into the 2024 elections, this by-election has become necessary. And as I was saying, Roland, you would think that, well, it's an MPP seat.
Well, it certainly is. You look at the transition
so,
post-2000, you can clearly see that the NDC has been dwindling in votes.
Yes.
There's a particular, I think prior to the 2020 general elections, where the votes as summed up or gotten by the NDC were even under 10,000 votes as cast.
Yes.
So it does indicate that it is a stronghold of the MPP, no doubt. But I think that for this very election, it is the dynamic that is being played out that seems to be of interest to all of us, especially the political watchers in that perspective.
And the NDC did not even bother at all to present
well, certainly. You can clearly see that if you look at the voter pattern, just getting in excess of 40. And the last election was 14,000. They had been averaging 10,000 votes. And incrementally, you've seen the MPP getting 68,000 in the last election and then 14,000 in excess for the NDC. It clearly also means that if you look at the turnout, which usually for by-elections is only just half of the previous turnout in the main election, it also means that they may overwhelmingly get an underperformance, so to speak.
So there's no point really presenting
and
candidates.
The dynamics also may be playing the hands of whoever is opposing the main candidate. And so why go in, I think, in the position of the NDC to go and contest when perhaps you're going to pull votes that could also injure away the governing party? Because mind you, if we have the independent candidate winning, it brings a certain dynamic to how other individuals who are disgruntled within the ruling party following the last primaries, who could also get gingered up or encouraged as they enter the main election to make decisions whether to go independent or not, looking at whether they have the best chance or not.
Yeah.
And this one is closely following or mimicking what happened in Formena. But mind you, the Formena election was a main election.
Yeah.
This is a by-election. And you've seen that the number of individuals who have trooped in, including the president, the vice president, and others, also mean that it's a small voter population. You are able to do the one-on-one interaction, and if there's even going to be any influence at all, you can do that yourself.
And the parliament factor also matters here.
In terms of the dynamics.
In terms of the dynamics, and whoever wins.
Remember, they've lost an individual in terms of somebody from a hunter not being there in the house. So it also plays in the hands of whoever thinks that the chosen candidate of the ruling party shouldn't be the MP.
So I'm guessing that if the NDC is really trying to court the affection of Idiomi, it will be so that when the time comes, he'll take the side of the NDC in Parliament. But let's go back. Yes, let's go back to William Evans Inkum, who has joined us on the line. William, are you there?
Well, I'm here now.
Yes, we lost you for a moment there.
Yes.
All right. Welcome back. Now, there's a lot of talk about the NDC trying to, you know, maybe campaign for Idiomi so that should he win, you know, they would have his vote in Parliament. That's what political commentators are saying. But what is the situation on the ground? Do you see that the NDC is in fact campaigning for and supporting Idiomi?
Well, it is a reality on the ground. I have seen a couple of them after voting coming out to say that not too long ago, about 5 minutes ago, some of them came here to vote, and right after voting, they were like, yes, we've done that for the party. And that's exactly what the party asked us to do. We are going to vote for them. So we are also going other places to encourage our members to also troop to the various polling stations and then vote for So that was a conversation I had, I mean, among some people perceived to be NDC members because of the line that they were actually, I mean, discussing and all of that. So yes, it is evident on the ground, at least per conversation that we chant on, that indeed they are also embarking on some campaign for the independent candidates. Now,
interesting. Duke Mensah-Opoku has just joined us in the studios. Duke, you're welcome.
Thank you, now.
So yesterday we were talking about whether or not the NDC was in fact campaigning for for Eduomi. And William is just telling us that as a matter of fact, that's what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, it would. One, it would. I was having this conversation yesterday, I think on radio just before I came. It would obviously, the NDC would have had a voter margin of about 54,000 to try and bridge with the candidate if that's based on the 2020 numbers. In the 2020 election, John Kumah won by 68,000, and then the NDC candidate Zenu came close, not close, 14,000. That's a huge gap. So if they were fielding another candidate and looking at the dynamics, it will make political sense strategically to look at someone who's been a former member of parliament, 3-term member of parliament for that matter, who is disgruntled, who has some procedural misunderstanding with the party which originally comes from. So who would have his base, who would have projects that he can point to, who would have a family house he comes from in the constituency, who would have a political base, apart from the political party that he got elected into parliament on its ticket. So these are things that are actually going on for someone who wants to go independent. So I mean, it's politically wise, political sense to push your, support towards that person and see if they can, at least for the very first time, say after 96, you'd have the seat go to another person other than an MPP candidate for that matter. So of course, and then this will also have other implications as well. Yeah. We don't know officially. Yesterday, there were some documents that were circulating, which later on we are told were not true. I mean, if, for instance, there was a pact between the NDC and the candidate that we are supporting you, of course, in return for some political favors if you should win, that throws the whole political, it makes it a different ballgame altogether. Because this is one of the reasons why this election has become very critical for two reasons. Number one, the fact that all by-elections, political parties like to win it like a trophy to show that it's a verdict on how well they are performing. So from Ulensi to Talensi to Asin North to Etiwa, all by-elections that we've had, usually the stakes are high. Whether it's a swing seat, whether it's a safe seat, it's high because political parties want to use that to test how well they are doing in government. Number two, even though this is a safe seat, also Eduomi's decision to contest has changed the dynamics. As I said earlier, he has quite a number of things going on for him. He held the seat before. He knows the people. He has projects that he can point to. So that makes it interesting. And then a third reason that comes in is the dynamics of parliament. You have a parliament that has been thrown into a typically hung situation now, as it is, without John Kumah, the late John Kumah. So every other vote that, for instance, if Parliament is sitting now, they are on recess, they are sitting now, every vote that comes to Parliament today, if you have all the NPP members come, all the NDC members come and they vote, it will be a tie. And once it's a tie, it's deemed to have been lost. So no government project will be, no government loan or a loan or international agreement will be ratified, or ministers, which is hanging, which will be the very first, the most important, the very first thing that Parliament will have to take off, the majority will have to take off its list when Parliament comes back. That is in abeyance. That is being held, it's a limbo because today they don't have the numbers. So it is very, very important for the MPP to win. That is how come all efforts, every force at their disposal has been, marshaled to ensure that they win this. And even if they don't win, and Eduomi wins, the NPP will stop at nothing to court him into their fold.
Looking at how things have played out, do you think that's a possibility at all? Especially if, one, he actually is or has an agreement with the NDC, and two, the way he left the party?
See, Formina has taught us a lot of things. The Formina election taught us a lot of things. Such utterances were made in Formina. Such utterances were made about his loyalty to the party. That's Amakwesiam, his loyalty to the party. I mean, what he brings on board. The fact that Formina may not get, their share of the national cake or their national meat, if you like, because of the fact that if they vote for an independent, all those things were said. But when the chips fell and the MPP lost the seat, the overtures were made.
Get him back into
the overtures were made to him. and he decided that he would caucus with them. And even as at now, you know, Formina hasn't been touched. It's one of the constituencies where primaries have not been held. A decision has not been taken. Why? Because there's a
silent part.
A section part of the party that believes that this is MPP, there must be a contest. And this gentleman is an independent candidate. He left our fold. Our party says that if you go independent, you are no longer a member of the party.
Well, now we have Ibrahim on the stream. Let's speak to him quickly and then we'll get back. So, Ibrahim, what's the latest so far?
Well, Roland, so far, elections are going on smoothly. This is the Omiropa school where we are expecting the MPP candidate, that's Kumah Boateng, to come and cast his ballot. People are just trickling in. Out of the over 400 expected to vote here, around 90 of them have so far come here to vote, and they are expecting more to come. But basically, or generally per where I visited, I've realized that most of the people who went there early to vote were the aged, hoping that they will cast their ballot early and go home and rest. Maybe by midday we will start seeing more of the youth coming in. But interestingly, you come to Onwe, where the NPP candidate is from, you don't see more of the party bigwigs, the regional and party national executives coming here. They've all gone to Bisiansi and Bongre, where they believe that Diomi has strong groundings there. He is voting at Bisiansi, and for that matter, you see a number of them over there monitoring and seeing what is happening on the ground. And this place has been quite so far so good. Just that some few hours ago, there were allegations and counter allegations of vote buying, which has been normal and is even becoming a norm when it comes to our elections. Some were complaining that they came and they were being offered money and they had to reject it. But aside those things, money
by who or from who?
So there were people around who, even at Onwe where we went, we realized that people who vote were following the same path, going to one corner. We had to trace, and we saw that some people were there when we are done voting. They said it is just TNT for people who were not even willing to come and vote, and that one has been sorted. But others were also disagreeing with that, saying that no, on an election day, we cannot be offering TNT because it amounts to vote buying and it has to favor one candidate. But apart from those things so far, generally, it's been smooth because the security has been beefed in all the stations just to ensure that we conduct the election devoid of any violence. Apart from those who have been stationed, others are also patrolling with their motorbikes and vehicles to all corners to make sure that the election is done, like I said, devoid of any violence.
All right, Ibrahim, earlier you spoke to two people in the constituency or the polling station where you are. Let's take a look at that.
You're from the right for Kumah. They are two and answer party Benamo. Party Benamo. Me NDC. We had this former constituency organizer. Yeah, two are parliamentary candidates. And yeah, NDC, and then MPP, and then CPP, and then independent. Yeah, two about you Obia, Obeko see, yeah, Nemo Ewo, and Rashebejum. Now, me, as a former constituency organizer, no, for NDC, no. NDC, Yanko race me, and I contest me, Yanko be. Name of Michelle, or more contesting in Anna, a nipa. So the Nico Gina, sir, on Timen Casa, no one GBB, Emre constituency now. Omunyano, a junior better chair Omuna. And Nuntin Ama, me them support Ama on our book of no so doing. And from the Hopa, I Ejisu Puntu. So say one number beer, yeah, can I say, yeah, Ejisu Puntu. Oh, sir, me pull agent, me, she say, ye be fresh amanfo abano ma beto yes no ma beto abano ama I mean what's the music sir almost say I just mind and this need people for nyina afra and you was honorable kwabla who said you on the best candidate it was on Ejisu many by the can say honorable kwabla who said you Ghana nyina na office brain what me no kasa wujia hoy who obi me obe who say hey honorable but one maka one na onimu no it say wo ma me ya abrefo kra na oba ho na ma ba gibi bia and now so oni no ka fe na obebusa na wo ye hwan wo free him so when you need race we are 7 December just so my be sa to ano so
now when this candidate
and there yes yeah better and na ma just so
that's this candidate no
men ka so onye better me say better by this says ya to about 6 months time na you be sa change candidate na nya possible
what come round now what can was send pan bi no say na ma me mpacho ko komutini de mpacho ye tonyo. It's very sad. Me catch the youth of this country. Someone sorry, no one fa and swabana ma CPP. And my CPP, mama G party no, so that you take over and make sure say your generation and have a better option. The direction of this country. Me, I'm standing here and I'm telling you, say, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I know clearly say the way the people of Ejisu. Me say do baby pom do want to myself from say and fire can faso. The more can say why have you delayed so much? And I'm on mountain. No problem say Obia is tired.
So more candidates no whether Obia will win this election.
You see, for me, I am pragmatic. I did not think say I'm going to come to Ashanti region to Ejisu and come and win. I am just shocked beyond belief the reception on Yamaino. However, I can say confidently, say for the first time, maybe there are more numbers in Ashanti region here in Ejisu, because your candidates know your youth, I'm up and asem. You can't, Yankasa near Bayern, so you're Juma. You go every corner. They are organizing and mobilizing your base na Makama Semano. So I believe that the base no there, they will go and vote for us. And those frustrated people, no Monkasati and Kavesi among Twambano, they'll go and vote for us.
Mama, na court issues no nasi for a few my buy. Oh, they didn't about no Emma so no nasi for they never buy.
Court issue need to say, maybe you won't now I am a city. But then for me, Enra, they compete almost on my coach's case. It is a complete loss. Thank God, and comedian. I mean, what your regional chair? How do you bring a court against an election like this? So name or say no. So are they saying, say, you see, they think that the only people who are members of this party are just executives of the party.
So that's some conversations that Ibrahim was having with some voters in Ejisu, at the particular polling station where he's coming to us from. So far, he tells us that voting has begun. It's very calm. People are coming in, voting, and going back home. There has been something that looks like vote buying. He's not sure. They cannot confirm. But of course, like he said, it has become normal, unfortunately. In our politics. Yeah,
it's not the best.
Yeah, it's not the best.
Even on election day, there shouldn't even be the slightest indication of any, political activity going on. Talk less of people going on a certain path to go and take money or something like that. If it is true and it's confirmed, it's very bad. It should not be encouraged. Our democracy is not for sale.
All right. Yeah. Anyway, we shall continue to bring you updates on what's happening in Ejisu. Our reporters William Evans Inkum and Ibrahim are on the ground, and they'll continue to update us. By 5 p.m. hopefully, voting would have ended and we would know who will win this by-election in the Ejisu constituency. This is your Election Command Center, and we're sure you are bringing you up-to-date reports as we go. But this week, we've seen some very elaborate, majestic celebrations happening in the Ashanti region as His Royal Highness Otumfuo Osei Tutu celebrates 25 years on the throne. It's a conversation we will be having, and we'll bring you some colorful sights and sounds from there and a bit of history about the throne and his reign. Stay tuned, you're watching TV3 New Day.